Everything is coming to an end. With my new job starting soon, this might be the end of my gap year, my last adventure before I start working as a doctor again. With Robert finally getting his UK driving license, we decided to go on our first road trip in the UK. I'm Ramona, by the way, the passenger princess, and this is my boyfriend Robert, our designated driver. But first, let me take you back to where it all began. I had a typical and predictable childhood. Every step of my life was mapped out for me. Exams were never a challenge, especially with the ones with past papers. My weekends were filled with extracurriculars. I got into good schools, earned good grades, and got into med school without a second thought. I knew I had an easy, privileged life, but deep down I always craved something more. In uni, I began to regret not seeking out adventures as a kid. I had no outdoor skills. Our culture emphasized stability. A high-paying job, a clear plan, and saving up for a house, marriage, and kids. But in those years, I began to realize how big the world is. I started to see that I wasn't really living, I was just drifting. Everyone around me went on to become doctors, on track to be specialists by 30. I saw them burnt out, with no satisfaction from work and no time or energy for anything else. Moving across the globe last year gave me a chance to step back, to take sort of a gap year, and to finally explore the world beyond the life that had been planned for me. It was always a huge risk to leave everything behind, to pause my new career for an entire year while the world kept moving. I wasn't even fully committed to the idea of a gap year. I couldn't travel as much as I wanted because I still had to stay put and prepare for my licensing exams and interviews. But after I passed all my exams, everything just stopped. I had no leads, no job prospects. For the first time in my life, there was no certainty, no deadlines, no exams, nothing to work towards. It forced me to confront something I'd never had to face. Who am I without the structure, without the grind? What do I really want? A year has flown by, and while I still don't enjoy social media, and my YouTube channel hasn't taken off, I do love telling stories through my videos. But it feels like I'm on this journey alone, and reality hasn't paused. There's still rent to pay, and the bills kept coming. Then I finally got a job offer on the 1st of August, exactly 365 days after arriving in London. So this is it, right? In just 1 year of living in the UK, I've travelled to the Lake District, the Peak District, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. So naturally, the next stop had to be Wales. And what better place to go than North Wales, a region of rugged mountains, rolling hills, and hidden gems waiting to be explored. So we hit the road once more, heading into the heart of Snowdonia and beyond.
Heard you pass south of Baltimore, wondering if you watch the ships roll in. Will you stay up till the dawn's early light? Do you ever wonder how I've been? Postcard memories only paint a picture of how you are in one place at a time. I need you now more than ever before. I'm waiting for you to come back home.
When we arrived at Crewe for our connection to Wales, it was pure chaos. Every Avanti West Coast train was either delayed or cancelled. Our train was over an hour late. The old me would have been stressed, worried about how the delay would mess up our plans. Now, I've learned to go with the flow, and honestly, with a full refund in hand, it felt like we were getting a free ride to Wales. The main reason I came here was to see Snowdonia, the highest peak in Wales. After spraining my ankle last month on my return from Ireland, I didn't want to rush into another multi-day hike just yet, so we chose the easiest path up this iconic mountain to see how my ankle would hold up.
When we drink wine, you have a way to slow the motion in my mind. All the while can turn me back to you in mid-flight. It's hard to find your way without a light.
This hike was much more relaxed than the usual ones we tackle. I found myself enjoying the sunshine and the greenery, with time to actually talk as we walked, something we rarely get to do on tougher hikes.
Towards the sky, look to find a sign to tell me where to fly. Birds that soar above don't need a reason why. It's hard to find your way without a light.
As we climbed, I watched the clouds swirl around the mountaintop, mist rolling in like ocean waves. The higher we went, the more we were enveloped by the clouds, and soon the view vanished. The beautiful green mountains and blue lakes that had peeked through moments before were now hidden, keeping their mystery behind a veil. I used to hike solely for the views and would feel so let down when the weather didn't cooperate. But now I've learned to appreciate the journey. The fleeting nature of those rare views makes them feel even more precious when they finally appear.
Think I got the chance, and I ain't gonna waste it. Honey dripping romance, and the hours have faded.
The Snowdonia hike only took us half a day to complete, so we found ourselves back in Llanberis much earlier than expected. With time to spare, we wandered around town. I had always heard about the famous coastal views of North Wales, but surprisingly they didn't leave much of an impression on me. Instead, it was the quiet, unassuming places that captivated me the most. Driving through the valleys of Snowdonia National Park, we found ourselves dwarfed by the towering slate quarries. The landscapes here were unlike anything I've seen before. Massive slate tips rose from the earth, and the quarries, carved deep into the mountainsides, carried a rugged beauty, stark and raw. It was a striking contrast to the soft, natural scenery of Snowdonia. The slate's history and presence made the landscape feel alive, like it was telling a story of its own. Before this trip, I knew very little about Wales mining industries. My only exposure was from an episode of The Crown about Aberfan. That was about it. I didn't even know what slate was. At the National Slate Museum and Snowdon copper mine, we learned more about Wales' industrial past. The slate industry was crucial to the Welsh economy from the 18th to the early 20th century. Welsh slate, known for its durability, was used worldwide for roofing and building materials. It shaped Wales' history, economy, and landscapes in ways I hadn't realized. I felt a bit sad that we only discovered these incredible landscapes on our last day. I'll definitely want to explore more next time I'm here. One of the legacies of the slate industry is the heritage railways that still wind through the hills of North Wales. I've always been a huge fan of trains. The iron ore train journey I took in Mauritania is still one of my greatest adventures. So arriving here, I couldn't help but notice how almost every town had these charming little railways with vintage steam engines puffing along, as if time had stood still. These narrow-gauge railways once had a simple purpose, to carry slate from the mountains down to the ports, powered by steam and hard work. I find it so moving that instead of fading into the past, these railways have been lovingly restored. They do more than just transport us. They connect us to a story, one that's still being told. And they make these rugged landscapes accessible to everyone, even those who might otherwise struggle to experience the beauty of these places. It made me reflect on how industries change and adapt. These railways, once essential for transporting slate, now help sustain local communities through tourism. It feels like a reminder that no matter how much things shift, whether it's new technology or fears about jobs, we always find a way forward. Before this trip, Llanberis kept showing up on my Instagram feed. People called it Little Switzerland and raved about the UK's cutest little train. Naturally, I was intrigued. The first part of our road trip took us through a few popular coastal towns, but to be honest, they felt like just another typical UK seaside stop. I didn't quite feel the Welsh charm I was hoping for. But that's the beauty of a road trip, isn't it? When things don't quite click, you're free to move on. No need to stick to a rigid plan. You map out a route, pick a few places to visit, but sometimes it doesn't go as expected. So you take detours and make unplanned turns. It's not about reaching the destination as fast as you can. It's about the moments in between and the unexpected views. The quiet stretches of road where it's just you and your thoughts. The company that makes the journey special.
What's the longest station name in Wales?
Llanberis It means the Church of Mary in the Hallow of the White Hazel near the Fiersworth Pool and the Church of Tysilio by the Red Cave. Try saying that with one breath.
The weather wasn't great, but the rain didn't bother me. The rain swept in, and the landscape blurred with each drop. If anything, it added something deeper to the experience. When the road becomes unclear, when everything feels uncertain, you slow down, you adjust. Sometimes you even have to pull over and just wait. The rain forces you to pause and reflect, and it's often in those quiet, rainy moments that things start to feel clearer. I realized I wasn't on this journey alone. He has been by my side, sharing in the detours and discoveries. It's not about avoiding the storm. It's about learning to drive through it and knowing that eventually the rain will stop and the sun will return.
The sun will rise long after I've given up on sleeping.
This trip reminded me of the joy in letting go, to care less, even just for a while. Not to worry about getting cold when you're soaked from the rain. Not to stress about missing sleep after staying up late. It's about feeling like a kid again, where the consequences don't matter as much. That's what this journey was really about. At the end of the day, I feel proud of the leap of faith I took. I left behind a place that wasn't making me the happiest and decided to do something about it. I'm not the type of travel influencer who tells you to quit your 9-to-5, abandon your future plans, and live recklessly. I loved being a doctor. I just felt that I shouldn't have to choose between one life and another. A year ago, when I embarked on this gap year, I was grappling with a quarter-life crisis. mourning the life I missed out on because of my commitments to med school and my career. I wouldn't say this year has solved all my problems or completely changed my life, but it has helped me understand what I want my life to be. Yes, my gap year is ending, but I feel like my adventures are just beginning. Adventures isn't always about far-off places. Sometimes it's just outside your door or a train ride away. I truly hope that being a doctor here won't mean giving up my love for the outdoors. I'm excited to return to the hospital. I'm a bit greedy, but I believe I can have the best of both worlds.